I logged on to my YouTube account today to find that my most recent video, 50 Gales Darker, had been flagged and removed. YouTube gave this explanation. YouTube is all about sharing, and it can feel great to get positive feedback and attention from the community, but when users receive comments or videos that attack and bully them, their experience is no longer fun or safe. YouTube is not a video for things like predatory behavior, stalking, threats, harassment, intimidation, invading privacy, revealing other people's personal information, and inciting others to commit violent acts or to violate the terms of use. If you continue to post such content, you may have your account permanently suspended. As someone who has been a victim of stalking, especially internet stalking, on 2 occasions that required that I take legal action against the persons or the person in each circumstance that was committing the act, I have made it abundantly clear that I do not condone any amount of stalking behavior or harassing behavior or bullying behavior, and that my videos are a commentary on the points of view offered by other people, people who are, I should rather say, people who are have a significant public profile, who speak out in person regularly and express their points of view. I criticize and critique the views of those people. And while I may be sarcastic, I may be loud, I may rant and rave, I do not at any point in my videos threaten people. I am very conscious of not threatening people, and I am very conscious of not revealing personal information, assuming that I even know any such personal information. And I am very, very committed to keeping this a dialogue about the exchange of ideas. And this particular accusation angers me. Personally, it angers me as someone who has been the victim of some very extreme, very predatory internet stalking, and some very extreme real-life stalking, and someone who has in the past dealt with real bullying. And I don't mean bullying like name calling, I mean bullying of the kind where you are, or I am in this case, on the floor unconscious after, being struck hard on the head, only to be met with administrative persons who are indifferent to what happened or somehow think I deserved it. I have seen the very worst that the concept of bullying has to offer, and I do not condone it, nor have I ever practiced it on my YouTube channel. I say that because I take that very seriously, but even more so, I went back and watched the copy of that video that I still had on my computer, and I went through and made a point-by-point summary of every appearance of everything that I've said that I say in each of the 14 appearances I make in that video. The video is a response to Gail Dines, who is in the video being interviewed for New England Cable News. She is being interviewed on the subject of the book 50 Shades of Grey. This was my response. First appearance, I provide exposition, explain that the video is about Gail's appearance on New England Cable News regarding 50 Shades of Grey. Second, I imply that Gail is not an expert on pornography. 3, I tell the host she needs to learn how to talk on television. I said this in a squeaky, grating, sort of Gilbert Gottfried type voice to make the point that the host's voice was equally grating and annoying. This was really the most contentious thing I said in the whole video, and I'm sorry, but thinking that someone needs to learn how to talk on television is an opinion that I have the right to have and express. 4, I talk about Gail's view that porn is generic and uncreative and argue that it is not. 5, I talk about what sadomasochism actually is and how Gale is misrepresenting it. 6, I point out that slavery and contractual agreements are not the same thing and further discuss BDSM subculture. 7, I possibly mishear Gale saying 16 to 80 as 16 to 18, comment, and then correct myself. 8, I point out that Gale is incorrect to assert that a fictional character would behave differently under different circumstances. 9, I further challenge Gale's speculation on a fictitious character. 10, I discuss the logical fallacies of Gale's Pretty Woman movie analogy, challenge the commentator coming to a conclusion without doing research, point out the difference between dull real life and unusual fictional circumstances. 11, I talk about the lack of a Pretty Woman 2. I point out that Gale treats her own speculation as fact, point out that Gale is only spouting her opinion, not fact. And then I cite S. Darko and American Psycho 2 as examples of bad ideas for sequels that still got made. 12, I discuss how Gale can't tell the difference between a consensual S&M relationship and an abusive spouse or boyfriend. I criticize Gale for trying to tell other people how to live. 13, I discuss how it's okay for everyone to enjoy their lives even if there's misery in the world. I talk about people having the right to enjoy different lifestyles. I liken Gale Dines and the host to Lisa Simpson. 14, the reason I made that analogy, that Gale Dines and the host were like Lisa Simpson, is because they both want to live in this, or advocate this living in just ongoing guilt and misery because there's suffering in the world and we shouldn't enjoy, apparently it's bad for us to enjoy our lives and that sort of thing. 14, and finally, I discuss examples of romance in porn. I reference the videos that I'd made where I cited these examples previously. Pointed out how the attitudes expressed on this New England cable news broadcast was the liberal equivalent of Fox News, and that being exposed to such ideas when I lived in New England contributed to me becoming a libertarian. Recommended viewers read my novel Eros Empire for a new perspective on sex. Said I'd be out of 50 Shades of Grey parody titles if Gale made more than a single further commentary on the subject. Not only is there nothing in this video that could be considered bullying, but this is perhaps one of the mildest videos I've ever done. You know, my regular viewers know, I'm sure, that I like to go into lots of ranting and raving and theatrics about different topics, and it's got kind of, it's meant to have like a Adam Carolla, Bill Hicks, Dennis Leary kind of ranting and raving about different things, but even that eccentricity was absent in this video. There is nothing, not one thing in this video that could be considered bullying or harassment. You know, about 500 people had seen that video in the time that it was up. I defy any of those people to find any example in that of of me threatening or bullying or harassing or stalking or disclosing personal information about anybody. That is an absolute lie, and it is an accusation that I take very seriously. Now, because it is literally impossible to come to any logical conclusion about why this video was false flagged, I have to assume that it was false flagged maliciously. And I have a very short list of about 4 or 5 names, people who I know by their actual names, who I think I could easily speculate might have been behind this. But in the absence of any secure or certain knowledge about this, I will speak directly to those people who are Gale Dines supporters. In my dealings with you, you fall broadly into 2 camps. There are the the faces or the identified faces that support Gale Dines, people who who are supporters of her or fans of hers who interact with me as actual human beings and actual people. That is to say, they use their real names. We discuss things on Facebook, that sort of thing. And those people are, for the most part, very respectful, very polite. And while we disagree, they certainly maintain a certain amount of civility in the discussions, even when we obviously are getting on each other's nerves. Those people I commend for having the guts and having the courage to speak out about their point of view and put their identity and their name to it. I think that that is noble, that is commendable, and it reflects a considerable amount of trust that they would have in me. To those people, I think that you all are simply people with whom I have an honest disagreement. And while I don't, while you all seem like intelligent people, and as such, I don't comprehend why you would support someone like Gail, who is demonstrably wrong in her opinions. And I don't mean wrong in terms of a difference of perspective or opinion. I mean wrong about obvious, observable facts. I don't understand why you would support her, but you have every right to. Then there is another group of people. There is the group of people that are the anonymous creatures on the internet. Trolls is not a good word, because trolls simply stir up drama and irritation and annoyance indiscriminately for its own sake. These are people, this other group rather, are people who are out of touch with reality, who think that a person who holds a different opinion from theirs is somehow out to get them, is some kind of bogeyman that wants to beat down their door and burn their house down and steal all their belongings and sodomize and rape their families and murder them and leave them. This is what they sound like in their ranting and raving, that they perceive people who have simply a difference of opinion as being these demented, insane creatures, and thus they respond in kind. They respond to people who disagree with people like Gail Dines, Shelley Lubin, Patrick Truman, Dawn Hawkins, as being some sort of criminal deviant that is unworthy or undeserving of even the most basic human respect. I am certain that this false flagging came from somebody in that camp. All I can say is to those people is that I have had the guts and the courage to stand here on YouTube using my actual name, my actual face, my identity, everything. I have put myself out here and expressed my point of view and put my point of view on the line. If you are unable to do that, if you are unable to come forward and present your counter-arguments as actual commentary and an actual response, and instead must resort to deceitful, underhanded, dishonest behavior, then you do not do yourself or your point of view any favors. I have presented in this video, in the video 50 Gales Darker, I presented honest commentary, my honest opinion, my honest perspective, in a manner that was thoughtful, articulate, intelligent, and unthreatening. There is absolutely nothing in that video that would suggest otherwise. And if you, in your, what I have to assume is a sick and depraved mind, have come to the conclusion that somehow any of that was done to advocate violence or harassment or bullying of any sort, then you are not only are you a malicious internet thug, but you are a fool and a deluded fruitcake as well. For now, I will be on this channel, Jordan Owen 1. I am waiting the appeal of the 50 Gales Darker video, and I will let you all know what comes of that.